Mark chapter 15. At dawn, the high priests, the elders, and the Torah teachers held a meeting. They and the entire Sanhedrin bound Yeshua and led him away and handed him over to Pilate the governor. Pilate asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" He replied, "You said it yourself." The high priests made many accusations against him. Pilate asked him, "Aren't you going to reply? Look at all these charges they're bringing against you." Pilate was amazed that Yeshua wouldn't answer him. It was his custom at every feast to release one prisoner, whoever they wanted. A man named Barabbas had been in prison with the insurgents who had committed murder in the insurrection. The people called out demanding that he do what he usually did for them. Pilate answered, "Do you want me to release for you the King of the Jews?" Pilate knew that the high priests had arrested him out of envy, but the high priest continued to persuade the crowd to demand that Barabbas be released to them. Pilate asked them, "What should I do with the one you call the King of the Jews?" They shouted out, "Crucify him!" Pilate asked them, "Why? What crime has he committed?" But they shouted all the louder, "Crucify him!" Pilate, wanting to pacify the mob, released Barabbas to them. After scourging Yeshua, he handed him over to be crucified. The soldiers led him into the court of the praetorium, and they called out the entire regiment. They clothed him in purple and wove a crown of thorns and put it on him. Then they began to salute him with, "Hail, King of the Jews!" They hit him on the head with a reed and spit in his face and bowed down on their knees and pretended to worship him. After mocking him, they took the purple robe off him and put his own clothes on him. Then they led him out to be crucified. They compelled a passerby named Simon the Cyrenian, the father of Alexander and Rufus, who was coming in from the fields, to carry his cross. They brought him to Golgotha, which means the skull. They offered him wine mixed with myrrh, but he refused it. Then they crucified him and divided his clothes up by casting lots for them to decide what each man would take. It was the 3rd hour, 9 a.m., when they crucified him. A sign stating the reason for his death read, "This is the King of the Jews." They crucified 2 robbers with him, one on his right and the other on his left. The scripture was fulfilled that said, "He was numbered among the wicked." Those passing by also insulted him, nodding their heads and saying, "Aha! You who are going to destroy the temple and rebuild it in 3 days, rescue yourself and come down from the cross." The high priests and the Torah teachers were laughing together and saying, "He gave life to others, but he can't spare his own life. The Messiah, the King of Israel, should come down from the cross now so that we can see it and believe in him." Even those who were crucified with him were also insulting him. At the 6th hour, (noon), darkness overtook the entire land until the 9th hour. At the 9th hour, (3 o'clock), Yeshua called out in a loud voice, "Eli, Eli, lamana sabachthani." That is, "Eloi, Eloi, why have you spared me?" Then some of the bystanders heard this and said, "He is calling for Elijah." Someone ran and soaked a sponge with vinegar and tied it to a reed and offered a drink. But others said, "Stop, let's see if Elijah comes and takes him down." Yeshua called out loudly and breathed his last. The veil of the temple door was torn in two from top to bottom. When the centurion who was standing near saw how he called out and died, he said, "This man was certainly Eloah's son." There were women looking on from a distance, including Mary Magdalene, Mary, the mother of James the Less and Joseph, and Salome. When he was in Galilee, they followed him and supported him. Many other women who had come up to Jerusalem with him were there too. It was the evening of preparation day that precedes the annual Sabbath. Joseph of Arimathea, a highly respected member of the Sanhedrin, who himself anticipated the kingdom of Jehovah, boldly went to Pilate and requested Yeshua's body. Pilate was surprised to hear that he was already dead, so he called the centurion to verify that he had already died. When he confirmed it, he gave his body to Joseph. Joseph bought some fine linen, took his body down, wrapped it in the linen, and put it in the tomb that was cut out of rock. Then he rolled a stone against the entrance of the tomb. Mary Magdalene and Mary, Joseph's mother, saw where he was laid.